reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems. Custom-built PCs delivered to your door with amazing quality, great options, and outstanding service. When you want a desktop or a laptop that will be the envy of your guild, kinship, or corporation, then our friends at Doghouse Systems are where you want to go. If you're looking for a new PC, then check out doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMOReporter to double your RAM.
Hello, it's Friday, March 21st, and welcome to ESO Reporter Podcast, Greenland's #1 transatlantic source of information on the Elder Scrolls Online. Today with me again, from across the vast and wide Atlantic Ocean, is Jen. Hello, Jen.
Well, hello, Svven.
And how are you today?
I'm okay. How are you today, Svven?
I am doing quite well, as always.
How's Greenland?
Greenland is green. It is, the pastures are getting lush and it's springtime here in Greenland.
Oh, good.
And how is England?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's all right. England, it's not raining, so
Way to sell the one true country.
so we can be grateful for one thing. It's not raining. It's
Yeah.
sunny.
It is. It's raining here.
Oh, right. Well, it's really where Teppo is.
The sun is shining and it is glorious, and everyone here is ready to play Elder Scrolls. It's just what we do here in Greenland. Teppo, I heard your voice. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'd spent most of the last time since our last episode housebound. But yeah, I had the dreaded lurgy. Some bear bit me and gave me bone break disease or something. I don't know what it was.
How are your muffins?
Disease.
My muffins bring all the boys to the yard.
His muffins bring all the boys to the yard, and they're like, "It's better than yours." So I've got at least one job in this podcast. I know I've got to say one or two things.
Sure. Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Oh, no, it's good to have you guys along again. This is episode number 4, and we are, I don't know, maybe about 9 days from the Imperial Edition 5-day pre-release. Yeah, this is getting pretty exciting. And I can admit that with all my ranting and complaining last podcast, I played beta last weekend for about 4 hours and had a blast.
Oh, really? You did more than me. I didn't get on that at all last week.
Tep, did you get a chance at all or not?
I logged on briefly, but I really didn't have the time or the energy last weekend, to be honest.
I strictly was in Cyrodiil again. I left PvE alone because I'm looking forward to playing with you guys because we are the transatlantic trio. But the PvP was fantastic. It was a blast. I was playing at Khajiit.
Gosh, surprise there.
Yeah.
Everything's better with fur, eh, Svven?
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Wow. And
right, it's better than yours.
But playing down in our Aldmeri area, which is what it sounds like we're going to be starting in. Any issues with that, you guys, or does that sound good to you?
Starting there. Who's told us that?
Oh yeah.
It looks like our poll told us that.
Oh, damn you, poll people!
I love the pollsters.
Damn you, poll people!
So,
is that what they said?
That
means I'm going to play an elf.
No, because you have the Imperial Edition, Jen.
Oh,
yeah, remember? Well, any digital pre-order, I think, comes with any pre-order tool comes with the Explorers Pack, which allows you to play any race in any area.
Yeah,
and all the digital editions, Standard and Imperial, both give you 5 days early access, not just the Imperial.
No, I'm totally
just to
cool.
clarify.
Yeah. No, that's a good clarification.
Totally.
So totally, you can play whatever you want.
Totally.
Oh my god.
Totally awesome. I can't wait. Oh my god. It's so awesome.
So, yeah. This is the Valley Podcast, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that's like a voice I haven't put on like 8
I'm not doing it.
You're not doing it.
I'll be Giles in this, shall I?
Oh.
Well, that certainly seems like a rash course of action.
If any of you get the gist there about Giles and Valley Girls, you can let us know. I don't know how what the age of this podcast, what the age of the listeners is actually.
But
I think it should be required reading in all schools.
That's it, right?
Required reading, required viewing. You know what I mean?
Viewing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And if they, whatever age, right, Jen, they could sure rent it or, whatever, Netflix it.
And I don't know how many people, how many like the younger generation actually know about it?
Oh, well, they hear it all day long still. The influence is still there.
It was the last great series with really strong female characters in it, particularly the lead, and which is sad because it's 15 years old. But
God,
it's
also, old. I grew up on that show.
I guess I did.
And when I say grew up, I was kind of like in high school when that show came out, like the age of Buffy.
Yeah, I think I might have been watching reruns. Not to age yet.
I'm not going to make any comments on this.
And he was even old. He's like Giles's age.
Full-grown man.
God, he was a full-grown man.
Sitting in his pants. British pants, not American pants, which makes it worse. Cheetos stains. Anyway, right.
Oh, come on. Moving on to
all right. So
to ESO.
Yeah. So we I had a great time in Cyrodiil, by the way, and I what I was said at the very end of last podcast, which is I think they're going to shock the hell out of everybody, still holds true. I think it's going to release, and I think Matt Firor said it himself. This is going to release? His comment was lag free, and so let's say they've done enough work with, and I think I can attest to it because I've been in most of the weekends, beta weekends. Is they have done enough work with stress testing that it shouldn't surprise people that it's going to be lag free because that's all they've been doing.
Well, yeah, because they've basically been pushing the system to its limit, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to, as long as they can reduce that load, then it'll be fine.
Yep.
I'm giving you both the work. You're insane.
Yeah.
I never down.
Hey, should we make a bet?
I'll
make a bet.
One game gold piece.
One gold.
Sorry?
Launch as well.
1 gold. How about you don't steal jute and ore?
No, not at all. That doesn't even compare. That has to be even. Has to be a meeting of minds here.
Do you know, I've got a couple of friends that want to join us, but they're like, I'm not so sure because they're Teppo.
Oh,
stealing all the stuff.
Teppo's the bang.
Wait, they're cute?
Teppo's the bang.
Well, it depends. It depends what you're into.
Well,
no.
I don't think it does.
I think he's trying to trick me. I know what this one's like.
This is universal, this bang thing.
What
are you talking about?
It's a Big Bang Theory.
Hey now.
All right.
I'm just a lot of weight, I'll have you know.
So we've been doing this.
He's the bang and I'm the bomb, and you're the...
No, you're the effervescent.
And you're the bing.
I'm the bing?
You're the bing, I'm the bomb, and he's the bang.
You're saying like Sven's like the wet, the damp squib, the one that doesn't quite go off.
Stop it. Stop it. So podcast number 4, and we have talked about our podcast a little off of air, and we have come to the conclusion that we'd like to develop this podcast around you, dear listener, meaning that we want you to help us define what ESO Reporter is, and that includes becoming involved in the comments on Facebook and tweets, and adding the audio podcast or audio clips on the MMO Reporter site. But we're open-minded. We're open to your suggestions and comments, and we'd really love to have your participation. What do you think?
Obviously.
Obviously, right?
Of course we do. Of course we do.
Yeah, it's
Dear
it ain't
listener.
without listeners. So
Sorry?
yeah, it isn't a show without the listeners.
No.
It's
Of
just
course
three randomers yelling across the great internet.
Well, we do that anyway.
Yelling.
It doesn't echo. There's no walls.
Well, you know, that's how I envision it. You know,
Right.
the vast
Ducks echo as well.
spaces
Right?
there. Yeah.
So are there?
Yeah,
are,
but I think that's a good idea. I think that you guys, as in you people who are listening, even if there's one or two of you, and we
Or
know there's one or
800.
two of you, and thank you, one or two of you. Yeah, send us your ideas, and we'll put them up. And we don't just mean ideas, and we don't have to put your name down and those types of things, unless you want us to. But if you'd like to see this go in a certain way, or you'd like us to cover certain themes or something, let us know.
Yeah, because we are, at least, I mean, I can speak for myself only, but I'm in it for the long haul. And in order to do this and enjoy it every week, which we'll be doing soon, it is only going to be fun if the community, the ESO reporter community, starts participating even more than it has. And it has been great for the first few weeks. But the more the merrier, and the more you participate, the more we're going to put your feedback in our podcast and your recordings in our podcast. And, if it means that we have an hour's worth of your comments and we comment in between your recordings, that's great. That's fantastic. So, yeah, go ahead and please comment and suggest and opine and anything else.
But there's no pressure.
None. But I'm going to tell you have to do it. No pressure.
Do it.
He's going to tell you to do it. He's going to tell you.
Get to
there's no
the
pressure.
Facebook.
Do it.
All right, on the other end of the break, we're going to have news. Welcome back. The time for our news section. As we jump through ESO Reporter number 4, we are starting with a section that was on the ESO Reporter official site, or an article that was written by Matt Firor himself. And he was talking about the launch and the pre-launch leading up to April 4. And I found it fascinating. I as I was reading through the first few paragraphs, I kept thinking to myself, kind of what we just talked about with getting the community involved. It was, he's trying. Are they catering to the community? I guess he's trying to make this point, and it sounds like it is. Or is it pandering? And I lean on the fact it seems like they've been doing a pretty good job of catering, trying to make this game. Yeah.
So, what's the difference between catering and pandering? I mean, really? I mean, aren't we just arguing semantics here? Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I'm thinking about that. My instinctual reaction is, so pandering will be they will say they're doing something and then work out how to do it. With catering, they think about their audience and start putting things in motion to try and anticipate their needs. I think that's the difference between the two in my mind.
Okay.
So sort of catering, there's some thought and action first. With pandering, they yell something. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to make pink unicorns, and then they work out how to do it because someone wanted some pink unicorns.
See, I see catering as doing what an audience wants, and I see pandering as doing what an audience wants, but in a kind of more pathetic way.
I don't know. I guess I'm leaning.
I think that's too simplistic.
Yeah, and I was going to say not to offend anyone, but I think I'm leaning towards Teppo's explanation a little more. I think they were, working on some of it, but using the feedback that they've gotten and the play testing that's been going on to further define and enhance the experience for their subscribers. And I tell you, I wish I had played some PvP this last weekend. But from the sound of things and the things I've read on all the various sites. I think the last beta weekend went really well. I don't know. I was excited by his article, and I'm so guys. I've said this. I'm an easy target, right? I mean, I'm very excited about this game. So anything they say, I think I'm pretty much gonna. So I like to hear your opinions, only because I know you're more critical than I am on this. I mean, more critique. You know, I mean, you look at it with an open mind, where I'm kind of just a sponge.
Fanboy.
I think this just has to do with the fact that we're jaded and you're not.
But
Yeah,
I should be
He's a fan-
jaded. I've been doing
He's
this.
a fanboy. We're awesome.
I am.
Yeah, you're a fanboy. We're just, we're just cool. We're just like cool, man.
Okay.
It's just like, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's so cool. Yeah.
Well,
cool.
I was excited to see some of the things that he talked about, though. Like in terms of I know the subscription models, contentious thing. We've talked about it in previous, and I don't want to beat that to death, right? So I like it. I've always liked it. But I'm curious what he means by the different options and plans and discount sub options. Does that mean that if you sub for 3 months, 6 months, the same old deal, or is there something else involved there?
It might be that if you sub for a long extended period of time, that you actually get a discount off your sub price. So what is it subbing for? About £10, is it?
$15, £10, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe I actually like after 3 to 6 months or something. Because we were talking about this as well, weren't we, in our other podcast, Tep, about how it would be really good if they did that, if they did a subscription where basically you paid the normal subscription price for a few months, and then after 3 to 6 months, it's reduced by a bit. Reduced maybe down to £5 or something like that.
Yeah, but is that any different from, say, you choose to subscribe for 1 month at $14, or you can choose to subscribe for 3 months in one lump sum, but it costs you 20% less overall?
I see your point.
I think that's all that means.
That's all.
Yeah, but I think it would be good if they didn't do that and basically said, if you've got, here's the subscription option, your option is you can get the subscription per month, but it will reduce the longer you do it. That'd be good. It would be nice to see. I don't know. I think I'll have to say I'm going with you here, Tep. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but it would be nice to see. It would be a breath of fresh air in the industry, I think, to see something like that.
I've heard of Cash Shop, but yet we've seen none in beta. Do you think they're mulling it over, or they're just going to blast it out?
It'll be there.
It'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be there.
As far as I'm aware, there's only two things going to be in the Cash Shop at launch, which is mounts and an upgrade to the Imperial Edition, Imperial Digital Edition, I think. Or those are the two things going to be in a launch.
But they're actually looking at fan art and stuff like that as well. So I guess the potential there is that they might do something similar like PS2 or something, where they take players' art and put it into shops and stuff. So we get that potential's there. I
doubt it. I really do, because
you're just disagreeing on every point tonight.
Well, if you'd said something I would agree with. And the reason I doubt it is because So what would they do in terms, unless they were talking about a future point where we have housing and we're talking like artwork or items to put in a house, that's another thing entirely.
Yeah.
If we're talking about armor and clothing and things, I think the styles of those are so interwoven with the different races and the setting of Elder Scrolls that they're not going to be accepting custom stuff for that. And they probably at this point don't want to deal with the profit sharing shenanigans just at the moment that Planet 2 has been doing. I like how bold he is in saying it's going to be a nice polished lag free launch. I really enjoyed him talking. It was giving some more information than people usually do around game launch about how the servers are going to work, where they're going to be, and the fact that they're having overflow servers. Which is great. So overflow servers are a great idea, and if you don't know what they are, dear listener, if there's a queue in place on one of the the 3 mega servers, I think it is North America, Europe, and Oceania. I can't remember.
It is Oceania. Yeah.
Okay. Then you'll be have the option of going to an overflow server. Now this. allows you to get into the game and get playing and getting XP and getting loot and all that kind of stuff. What you won't have access to is any of the social stuff, like your friends list, your mailbox, or PvP. But it allows you to play while the queue's ticking down. Then you can be seamlessly moved into the mega server once it's ready for you. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a great idea, because no one wants to sit in a queue for like an hour and a half and then get in, and they've only got 20 minutes to play. The lag's quite bad, and they don't get much done.
Or get in and they just get kicked back out again.
Yeah, that does happen as well, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, it's a very good idea. I think they're actually being very. They seem to be quite open with their customers. So hopefully that's something that will last past launch.
Open to their customer, but dedicated to their dream. Their what they wanted. I mean, I think they've set out with an idea, right? Which is Matt Firor was Dark Age of Camelot, right? This was his thing, and it is clear to me, because I've played that game, that dream, that vision, has come through, has translated. It's quite a lot of things that are relatable to the two. Now, there's things that are different. Don't get me wrong, listeners. Don't. I understand the difference between realm ranks and levels. What we're doing, I get that, but the feel of it feels very similar to Dark Age of Camelot when you're out on the battlefield. And so that's neat, but yet they're flexible enough to make the big changes, where I know that the initial betas, there was no talk of a thin UI, a light UI, and first person. And so I'm encouraged that they've made the changes to make it feel more Elder Scrollsy.
Yeah.
While still maintaining some of their original vision, and I'm encouraged.
Well, to be honest, when you're talking about the UI, I was talking to Teppo about this recently. Is the UI is very similar to the UI in Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
and not Elder Scrolls, in Skyrim.
Yep.
The Sky UI.
It's
quite
great.
Similar. Yeah, it's really nice.
I don't like all that crap on my. I'm sorry. I don't like all of it on my screen. I don't like 3 taskbars. I never have.
It's a bit chunky and it gets in the way, doesn't it? When you're trying to do stuff and trying to see things, and it kind of takes you. If you're playing a game and you want to immerse yourself in the game, it kind of takes you out of that immersion.
Yep.
Because you've got loads of things on the screen.
Yep.
Yeah, and you don't want it to be hiding your awesome looking character as well.
Exactly, especially when you spend so much time working on that awesome looking character.
Yeah, working those glutes.
Oh yeah.
Well, good. So thanks, Matt, for that great article. Actually, it was whether or not this comes to fruition the way you have written it, it gives me I get a good feeling from it. I get a good feeling. I don't think it's all BS, which is what I felt in previous games.
I just hope that it's something that does last past launch.
Mm-hmm.
I think the launch is going to be pretty smooth, and I know Teppo's not entirely convinced by that.
Well, because we've done it so often, right? But
exactly, and to be honest, we'll see how that goes. But I am also not entirely convinced that this is all going to go past launch. I'd really like to see that happen. I really like to see a game that's dedicated to its customers.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some games have tried. Yeah.
Is it Paul Hines has said in other interviews that one of the justifications for their subscription price is they're going to be producing this. Their commitment is to produce content regularly, and more than just say a new sword and a hat every month.
Yeah.
And they want to actually add sort of DLC sort of scale. And DLC comes in all kinds of different sizes, so don't forget that. But the DLC scale, content additions.
Yep.
That would be very cool, as long as they don't then, say that that's why they're keeping the price where it is, and then put more money on top of that. Which would be really
problems SWTOR has, or had rather, in their first year, was they committed to providing content updates and then slashed part of their workforce that were providing those content updates, but still kept the sub where it was, which was a little difficult to manage. The other parallel I see here between SWTOR and ESO is the talk of Craglorn.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh,
so I'm wondering how much of repeatable endgame group-based PvE content they have at the moment.
Right.
Because I haven't leveled up that much, only to about level 15. So any people who have been playing to the higher levels, please let us know what it's like up there.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't get that repeatable stuff in quick and don't build on that quickly, because if you just have one sort of op or whatever, a raid at the end, people are going to get tired of it quite soon. You're going to need lots of things to keep people interested, because they will burn through your content.
And the problem is, as well, to be fair, they've said it so the leveling is relatively slow, but I can see that could also cause difficulties, because it might also lead to them, kind of cooling their heels, and then all of a sudden, within a week and 2 weeks, people are at endgame, and they're like, "Oh my god, I have nothing else to do," which is going to happen because inevitably there's going to be 1 or 2 people out there that are going to spend 24/7 on their computer getting up to 50th level. Yeah, I'd say 1 or 2, probably loads, and that's, by the way, if you're one of those people, it's really, really unhealthy.
Life is wonderful.
But,
it's really
thank
unhealthy.
you for doing it, so we have all the guides and things on.
Yes, exactly. But if you do it, let us know. Give us feedback. But I am telling you, I do not. I do not support that. It's very unhealthy. So there you go.
Rift, Tryon. I liked, and I think I'm going to give a little kudos here to the sub model that they did when it was sub, and how often they came out with new content. I was impressed for the first year plus with that, and if ESO can do to that level, I think they have a potential of having a really successful game. Because WildStar's coming up shortly after, but I'm not concerned about how many people are going to leave for WildStar, because I think they're different enough games, and the people that are going to play, the dedicated ESO players, I don't think they're either going to be either just ESO fanboys or Skyrim fanboys and girls that aren't really interested in other MMOs. And then there's that other third or whatever it is that are just next new shiny who will jump to WildStar, right? So you're going to lose a little bit, but I don't think you're going to lose a lot. Their big test will come when Draenor comes out for World of Warcraft.
Yes. Which is going to be
December.
The end of next year. Well, the end of this year. Yeah,
yep.
December.
So that'll be their big. Can they get a good enough player, solid enough player base by that point? That will be interesting.
Well, I think this game is pretty. I don't know what you guys think, but from what I can gather, it seems like it's highly anticipated. So there's, a lot of people seem very excited about it. It's a slightly different game than out there before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's got staying potential as long as they keep doing what they say they're going to do.
Yep, agreed.
If they don't, and unfortunately they go back to the older mistakes that so many other companies have done.
Yep.
And gone, oh yeah, we're going to do all this neat stuff, and never do anything.
And or spread it out a lot.
Do very little. Yeah. They're going to lose it's just going to happen. It's inevitable. They'll lose people. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's get on to our next article, which is my dear, close to my heart. It's the limited edition hero guides to the Elder Scrolls Online, and
so pretty.
So pretty.
Man, I really like what they're doing.
Can we buy these now?
Pardon me?
Can we buy these now?
Yes,
I'm
there's
pre-order now.
You can pre-order.
They're $100.
Oh. I would say something, but I can't say it because it's.
They're worth $100.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
I would buy them if I could.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
Ship date is April 14th, and they're on pre-sale at the moment. But they look so good.
Yeah,
and they're all. It's $100 for all of them, isn't it?
Yeah. 272 pages of original writing and illustrations. If my book that comes with my Imperial edition is impressive, bindings and everything like that, I think I'll jump in quick pre-order if there are any left to pre-order. But I'm going to base it on what comes in the Imperial edition, because I just want a feeling on the quality level before I dump down $100.
Yeah, they are beautiful though. It looks gorgeous.
The art,
but it's just a bit. It's just too pricey for me. I'm not willing to spend £100 on a book.
Understandable.
I've spent more than that on a book before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have as well, but I wasn't happy about it.
Was it a textbook?
It was, yeah.
I meant actual book for pleasure.
Was it a textbook?
Yeah,
What made you think it was a textbook?
Because I bought that, got kind of expensive taste of it before. No, it was. I used to collect first edition, random, sort of slightly misprinted versions of Discworld novels by Terry Pratchett
Cool.
back in the day.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's kind of neat. So have you kept them?
I've given some away actually. Gave a couple to a charity, a local charity where I used to live, to sell off or whatever, or auction off or some such, and whatever. It wasn't a big deal in the end.
Yeah,
I quite enjoyed it at the time, and I thought, you know what, this is just taking up a lot of space.
Yeah.
well, that's neat. But yeah, I think these are. I mean, for someone that's going to be just perfect collector's item. And the artwork, I'm sure, is fantastic. And, we don't know about the storytelling so much. We've seen hit or miss with some of that.
Let's not even go into that.
But I did enjoy the wild fungus PDF here. It was kind of interesting. And
everyone loves the wild fungus.
I love me some wild fungus. But what it made me think about, if I don't even get this, what made me think about is, are they going? I'm kind of surprised that isn't on Amazon yet. A strategy guide, because Skyrim had that big, hardbound, beautiful book. I think Prima put it out, or probably pronounce it. I think it's Prima. Are they not? Is it just something that's going to be expected online to be done, or have you guys heard anything on that at all?
I haven't heard anything on a strategy guide.
Okay.
I assume if there's going to be one, it would probably be out after a couple of months.
They don't usually do Prima guides for MMOs, do they?
Is there a need for it?
I don't know. I know World of Warcraft still does.
World of Warcraft does, yeah, most definitely.
World of Warcraft, Blizzard published their own though, didn't they? Do they?
Oh,
it's not.
Guild Wars is Prima, I think, aren't they? They have a guide, but that didn't do all that well.
I'm having a look. I wouldn't have thought you would, because it would not make any sense whatsoever. But apparently they have. The original Guild Wars had a Prima official guide. Currently going for 1 cent.
Wow. Yeah, because I know they're really popular. They're really popular for RPGs, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and single player games in general, like Warcraft 2 and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never bought one, and I never will now I have the internet.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, I remember the days when you had to ring up, especially Nintendo. You had to ring them up at their head office or talk to the guys, I don't know, the cheat guys. If you want to cheat some games, do you remember that?
Phone number in the back of a manual.
Yes.
Does anyone else remember that?
It took me a while, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really stuck on level whatever of Mario.
Can you help us?
Either put this code or they sort of, you gotta wait to do this.
Oh, those days.
Next article is about mods. And this is from the Massively site, and it had to do with 5 essential Elder Scroll add-ons. Of course, this changes all the time, and this is written back on the 18th of March. Those 5, if you guys have looked at them at all, do you find anything that you would must have? There's a mini-map mod, which looked kind of interesting to me, a little better improved map, so you don't have to hit M every time.
That was my least favorite.
Yeah, I'm starting from the bottom and moving up. Wicked's War Tools, instant communication to the whole party. For instance, as a group leader, you can right-click on a particular node to command the party to scout out that node. Yeah, RVR stuff.
Yeah, for RVR. I can see that perhaps being useful. So having to type it out, you can say right-click, party to, I need you to take that mine, or scout that mine, or whatever.
Yep, at a big party. Yep.
See, I'm not a big fan of these things.
No?
I think they take all the challenge out of the game.
Some of them can. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing at all there.
I think some of them can make it because we were talking about this as well with raids, old WoW raids, when, all the mods for WoW weren't actually put in the game and you had to get separate mods. I mean, they were necessary when you had 50-man raids.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes I find them kind of pointless and useless, really.
XP view, because it's kind of interesting how you really can't simply look at how you're doing, progressing. I don't really care, honestly. I read that and I'm like, you know what? when I level. That's how I felt when I was playing in beta. I don't know if that's how I'll feel live, but I was enjoying the experience more than worrying about my level so much.
Yeah.
That might change. Who knows? The Outfitter. This is progressing through the game. You'll gain more skills. Blah 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 blah. Sorry, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, it's for switching between your equipment and skill bar loadouts as well.
Yes, that looks
Switches them
interesting.
all. Yes, possibly.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, you can change between two weapon sets on the fly.
Okay.
But you obviously can't change your equipment with just a press of a button at the moment, but that mod will let you do that. I haven't seen that there'd be much of a... I suppose maybe if you have different... Say you use heavy armor for tanking and light armor for when you're casting, perhaps you're moving between two fights.
Mm-hmm.
Then one button you can just change all your cloth armor out for your heavy armor, and your tank weapon and your tank skills will appear on your bar.
Yeah. But you don't necessarily need that, do you?
No.
It's just a bit about what your focus is and how, I think, what's your style. That's the nice thing about mods, right? I'm glad they're allowing them, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Play the game the way you like. I wasn't that... I enjoyed the basic UI. I don't know about you guys. I felt it was fairly intuitive.
Yeah, I found it quite fine. I liked it.
I can't remember how much of the screen the party frame took up, though.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in a big party. So maybe the raid frames, War Legends raid frame might be quite useful for me.
Yeah, I looked at his HUD as well. There might be some things in there that are useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too worried about HUD. I think the War Tool is probably the most useful out of that.
Yeah.
Despite what Jen says, I think it doesn't. The challenge in RVR really isn't and shouldn't be. It's because you're quite wrong tonight. What's up with you?
I've got other things on my mind.
Yeah. I think the thing about RVR is the challenge shouldn't be in actually trying to talk to people. The challenge should be in winning things and fighting and whatever. I think be able just to left click and ask a group of people to go do that is perfectly good.
Yep. Agree.
Particularly in the kind of actiony, button pressy, running around, jumpy kind of combat that is ESO.
Mm-hmm.
We're stopping to type, as I did while we were taking videos for the MMO Reporter website. Stopping to type quite often would get me killed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's all right.
Oh, good. So I'm sure there'll be plenty more where that came from, but that was
I'm sure it won't be long.
No.
Sorry, just to interrupt. I'm sure it won't be long before you have full map things with the spawn locations for world bosses and their timers and where all the sky shards and things. There's already maps online, interactive maps online, showing where all the lore books and skill sky shards and Understones are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit of the fun out of it, though, right?
It does, of course. Yeah. Because the nice thing about the sky shards and things is they have the little clues, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of work it out. And this is the problem with mods, despite what Teppo says. The problem with mods, I think, is it sometimes does take that challenge.
Yep.
Challenge out of
It'd
the
be
game.
like playing the Secret World and knowing all the answers to all the...
Oh, so many people play the Secret World and just look stuff up without trying.
I think that's
scum and villainy.
It is. It is.
Yeah, mods can take challenge out of some things, but it's still your choice to install them.
They can enhance your experience too.
Well, they can. I mean, like with the war frame thing, I think that is actually quite useful.
Yes, and naked mods.
Naked mods.
That's a joke.
It's
Skyrim
for all of the Elder Scrolls games so far.
We've all used them. I've used them.
Better bodies and nude mods.
You get the real bodies, don't you? You can use for your modification.
That's what I've heard.
And vanilla faces. Yeah, I'm sure that's what you heard.
So suddenly you're spending quite a lot of time in the corner club in Balmora.
I'm sure it's those mods that crashed my game in the first place.
Yeah. All those extra polygons.
Yeah, exactly. My game's going, what? I don't understand.
Sorry.
But Morrowind did launch with the worst memory leak bugs in it ever.
Yeah.
You have to be running with like 3 gigs of RAM, and 3 gigs of RAM was a block in those days.
And expensive.
And expensive in order to stop it from crashing like every 45 to an hour.
Right, because we were playing on mostly 32-bit machines, so 3.1 gig is about
64 bits went out when Morrowind came out. I don't think.
What?
I think retail 64-bit processors were coming out in 2004.
Okay, I thought you said you had them.
No.
Oh, I thought you said you had. I'm sorry.
No, they weren't. They weren't out when Morrowind came out.
Okay.
At least not in the UK, I don't think, or at least not in a reasonable price range.
Sure, price range.
I think I got my first one in 2004 with a Athlon chip or something.
Mm-hmm.
Total waste of money.
Yeah.
Right now, though, but back then, no point.
Back in the day.
Because nothing really took advantage of it much back then.
Nothing took advantage of it. I could talk about this topic for ages, but basically, it was in a different language, if you like.
Yeah, architecture.
It just didn't work at all. No one programmed for it. It's all standardized now.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
All right. So the last article is fascinating, actually. It's to do with crafting. And it was out on Reddit. And it had to do with the research grind. And I didn't get to read all of it. Teppo, I think maybe you might have been able to read most of it. But it talked about the time frame and the dedication that really it would take to become totally specialized in a crafting talent or skill. My opinion on it really quick is I'm glad they did what they did, actually. I don't mind that it's not allowing you to be completely specialized on everything. But what do you think, Teppo? What did you get out of it?
Yeah, it's so I scraped this out of the Reddit, Elder Scrolls Online Reddit, and it's pretty interesting. So in most MMOs, in order to get up to say your 400 skill or whatever it is in a craft, it really only takes, provided you have the materials. And in what they've theory crafted here, they're assuming you have materials available. It only takes a couple of hours, if that, like less than a day, maybe less than a play session. What they're looking at here, because if you haven't watched the crafting video for Elder Scrolls Online, you really should. But in order to get all the traits unlocked for crafting the different suffixes or whatever for the armors and the weapons, all that kind of stuff, which you need to unlock if you want to be able to craft the stuff for the set bonuses. It takes days of continuous research, and then the initial result was it takes about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Wow,
now,
that's quite good.
Other people came back and they said, well, actually, there's some other things to take into consideration here. I think the next best comment was anyone who's doing this isn't going to do it without taking the passive traits in it. And so it actually ends up taking closer to about 5 months in some crafts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's still a huge amount of continuous time.
Which I think is quite good. I think it's quite good if you want to be a dedicated crafter. I don't see why it shouldn't be the case. I like... Sorry?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's good that it's not... that it takes a real investment.
Absolutely. And I think it should take an investment, especially since the stuff you're creating is actually really quite nice and it's really quite unique. Mm-hmm. And you can keep crafting things and making the things that you have better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And the crafting is fun as well. It's not kind of... Well, I found it
challenging,
quite fun. And I don't know, I didn't find it overly challenging.
Oh.
But it kept my...
I think that's what I meant by challenging. When you have that percentages and you have to decide how many of those...
it's but that's what keeps it interesting and fascinating, in my opinion, because you've got the challenge put in there.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to invest time in crafting because the items you can get are really cool. I want to learn. I want to find out more about how you can get recipes for other races' armors and stuff.
You just loot.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
Boxes, loot crates, loot drawers, loot bookshelves.
See, I want to experience it because when we were playing, I never picked up any of that stuff.
So here's the hint that I told Teppo when he first got in beta, and he would have figured it out himself because I know Teppo. But when everybody who's listening here starts in the game in Cold Harbor, don't jump through it so fast that you don't look at every single loot everything, because there's going to be 1 or 2 racial armor books that you're going to find in there, and you're going to be glad you took the time because you don't have to worry about mobs or anything else. You could just sit and go through all of those jars and chests and urns and everything else.
As long as there's not that crazy bug that stopped me.
No, that bug is called Teppo.
I loot so hard it goes through instances.
Yeah, that was the issue. Unfortunately, the problem was, unless you guys have already heard this, and sorry if you have, but what's your focus going to be, you guys, do you think? I mean, I think I know what I want to do. Sorry, Sven, I was actually in the middle of saying
my bad.
It's okay.
You two are terrible. You think you guys haven't done this before?
Yeah, I know. It's been really bad. But basically, what happens, and I'm sorry if I have said this before, but I was in a group with Tep, and we were going through, and he was looting stuff, and I was in a different instance, but I couldn't loot anything because everything I came upon was actually already looted. That was really annoying.
I think it was probably because we were in a group. Because
I think it was,
because we didn't have personalized loot then.
Exactly, and I'm hoping that bug is going to be taken out of the game.
I'm hoping it's still in there just for giggles.
It's annoying. But as long as you can trade, it's okay. But then we couldn't trade at that point either,
no.
So that was crap. Anyway, please.
Well, no, I was just curious what you guys, what special, what areas of crafting you were thinking of specializing in. Did you have anything in mind that you were thinking of starting out at? I myself was thinking alchemy.
I don't know, to be perfectly honest. Armor seems to be the way to go if you want to, really, because there's so much to it. Blacksmithing, covers armor and weapons. I mean, who wouldn't go that if they want to see the results of their labor? I mean, you can go for clothing, but it only does, light and medium armors. I suppose it's fine if you're casting and stuff.
Well, I found enchanting fun, actually. Enchanting was good.
That's with the glyphs and stuff, right?
Yeah, especially if you're a armor, especially if you're an armor crafter or a weapons crafter. It makes a lot of sense to also craft runes, because then you can put them in your weapons and things.
Yes. I wonder how much. Wonder how many skill points you can possibly gain in the game.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I got one PvPing. No, I did.
Yeah.
So you can get them that way as well, is all I meant.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because if there's no limit, then why not do them all? Is really the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there is no limit.
Well, where do you start? That's all I'm thinking. You're right, Teppo. I don't disagree with that. But I think any kind of group will want a balance of people doing different things, I would guess.
Yeah.
And I think woodworking isn't bad as well, because that's bows and staffs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I found myself in PvP especially. I mean, was I using the bow a lot. And I think Teppo, maybe did you play PvP when you were at level 15, Teppo?
Yeah, I tend to prefer I hate bows. The bows in that game feel wrong. But I tend to use staffs. But stave, staffs.
But at 15, you get to switch your 2 loadouts for weapons, right? On the fly?
Yeah, and bows are still awful. So
the problem with bows are as well. If I know one complaint was with the Assassin's class with Nightblade, is that if you want to play Nightblade with a bow, the game is not actually catered really towards that, because a great deal of the Nightblade class is based on close combat.
Yeah.
Like you jumping and teleporting in, and it's that ability becomes pretty much pointless if you have a bow.
Okay, but I saw a guy in PvP, right? That when I was doing this last weekend, where he was level 27, so he was up a little higher than the majority of us. Yeah, but he would sit in this little rocky crag area that had a road that was going right by, and he would sit. And I just sat and observed, and he would be stealth, and then he'd see these guys on their Imperial horse, just a single person. He'd check out to make sure no one was behind the guy. And he'd take his bow out. This is how he used it. He didn't use it as a, especially offensive DPS weapon, but he would shoot the rider off of the horse, and then he would go back quickly into stealth.
All right. Was this guy you, Sven?
No. I hope at some point, but no. And he would get back into stealth, and the guy would get off his horse, and just because natural reaction, he'd be like running back towards where he thought the guy was. And I mean, this guy was murdering one after another. It was amazing, and he'd just get back behind him in stealth and take care of him. So there is some use for bows, but not so much for an offensive.
Yeah, I think bows in PvP would be really cool. If you had a massive group of people, we were talking about this before, like having a group of people with different objects, basically, different things to do. It would be really cool to have a group of archers.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, so that's it for the news. And we will move on to our next segment. And our next segment today is Our Take. And for us today, our take is going to be where to start the adventure. A little bit of what we talked about, what alliance, race, and class we're all going to, we have obviously alts we can do, what our main is going to be focused in. And then kind of the age-old question for any kind of game, but mostly in MMOs a lot, is it the journey or the destination or something in between? So for me, everybody knows I'm Khajiit, and I will definitely be playing in the Aldmeri Dominion to start off with. You listeners added to the poll, and appreciate that, and that's where we'll be beginning. I will be beginning. Hopefully, you guys will join me.
Well, of course we will. I mean, the poll tells us that that's what we must do.
And is it? You said it's Nightblade, right? Which is the stealth assassin class?
Yeah, I think it's Nightblade, isn't it?
Yep,
yeah.
That's what I will be starting up.
Oh, cool.
With the alchemy crafting focus.
Awesome.
And dual weapon. Dual wield.
Yeah, I think
Stabby.
I think I'm going to start off as a Dragon Knight. As a couple of guys, I think, said on ESO Reporter, actually, we had a couple of responses from people who said they're going to be Dragon Knights as well.
Yeah.
So I'll be joining that crew. And obviously I'll be joining you on the side of good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what I'm going to play yet, though. I'm really tempted by a Briton because their females are pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know what the Imperial females look like, so I'll have to check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Nords are not as pretty as they were in the game. They were like the prettiest race in Skyrim, but they're not so in this game.
They're very big.
They're huge.
Yeah.
I like big Nords that can.
What about you, Teppy?
You gonna play that Amazon elf again, Tep?
So funny.
She's awesome. Leave her alone. I'm probably playing an Imperial Templar.
Oh, cool.
Because I like healer hybrids.
All right. Awesome. In that case, I might play an Imperial as well. Imperial female.
I'm fine. We'll see what they look like first. I don't know what the Imperial females look like.
Yeah. I forgot to say skill line focus. I think I'm going to do Assassin.
Cool.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Whatever I feel like. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about Templars. Probably, I can't remember what they're called, but probably focus on them on damage initially, but probably try. My mistake in the beta was I didn't work up a restoration staff until I was into the teens. So I think I might try and use a resto staff quite a lot initially because there's some great group heals in there. And there's some good heals for the there's some good heals in the skill lines for the Templar, but some of those if I want to do a healer build at some point, which I will, for group play, then I need some of those restoration and staff skills.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to play a 2-weapon user because I enjoy them, but I think that if I want to really do tanky, I really need to consider a sword and board at some point, actually. So I'm not so sure if I'm going to start off with a sword and board or start off with a two-handed weapon, because I use a two-handed weapon a lot in the beta, and I found it kind of frustrating, so I'll see. Maybe
slow, right?
No, I just found that I was taking way too much damage, so I'll have to see what it's like with the shield and see if that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to skip the starting island, or are we going to play the starting island, do you think?
Do you know what? If I would advise anyone to go back and do the starting island because there's sky shards on there, so you're missing skill points if you don't.
Exactly, yeah.
There's books on there, so you're missing lore. There's plenty of XP to be gained, so go back and do them. It's well worth your time.
It's not that bad of a start either, I didn't think.
No, I can see it being a problem if you've been through it 4 or 5 times.
Yes.
But honestly, they're good. They're well put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't really do a great deal in that area, so I'm quite happy. I don't know if I did Ebonheart again. I might have to skip the island, but yeah, I'm not too fussed about starting off from the beginning.
So, is it the journey or destination or something in between? I know everyone's going to play this game differently, and I just put in my 2 cents to start off with. I've always been a journey guy. I rarely cap in games. I'm going to be honest. I'm planning on doing it in this one. But I am not in any rush. Never have been. Different than maybe some of my co-hosts. But I enjoy taking it all in. I don't mind spending a play session where, a lot of it's just exploration. It doesn't bother me if I don't level in a play session. I don't get that. I don't have a rush to zip to the end as fast as I can. I like doing different things and taking my time. But like anything else, I have no issue with people that like the other stuff at all. I mean, I'm a very tolerant person. So for those that like that, that's great. And I respect those people that I really do, that can, min-max and focus in on how fast to get, to end level. I think that's a different way of playing, and I think it's pretty cool. But for me, I'm a journey guy.
Yeah, I am as well. I prefer to enjoy myself rather than... I've never really liked rushing to the end of games.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I'm always the type as well, even with books, if I really like a book. Not so bad now, but when I was younger, if I really liked a book, I didn't want to get to the end of it.
That's now, you bring that up.
Yeah.
I couldn't put a book down till I got it done. I was the opposite.
Yeah, see, I don't, because if I'm really enjoying it, it's just like, I don't want it to end. So, yeah, I think it's more about the journey for me, actually.
Okay.
What about you, Tep?
If I'm not enjoying the journey, I won't ever get to the end. It's just it. There are very few. Bear in mind, I've played probably every major MMO since 2001. I've only reached top level in less than 5.
Really?
Possibly only about 3. Yeah, I never cap if I start getting bored of it. If it gets too grindy, or the story's not there in the game where the story's supposed to be there, or whatever. It's just kind of do it. So it has to be about the story.
Which games did you cap, Tep? Really. I'm just curious. Which games can you remember that you capped?
Off the top of my head, I didn't even cap Tabula Rasa. I'll have
Wow.
I think I hit level cap in Age of Conan.
Wow.
Oh my God, you managed that? Jesus.
That was 80, wasn't it?
I honestly can't remember what it was. I was a guild leader. We had a city.
It was 50.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I had a little city going there. That was the very first game I ever got a legendary drop in.
Cool.
That's the very first game I ever got a really good piece of loot in ever. I never reached level cap in WoW, and I've been back to play that loads of times. I've capped at the time in SWTOR a couple of times.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something else. I know there's something else. I'm not counting Diablo 3. There's some... I can't put my...
You didn't do the EverQuest games at all.
Lotro. Was it Lotro? Do you cap Lotro?
Yes, briefly. Yeah.
When it was 50.
I think Lotro might be the other one.
Yeah, I did the same.
When it was,
and City of Heroes. That was the City of Heroes / Villains. I capped a couple of times in that because I was working through the crazy Arachne soldiers and
that was pretty grindy, wasn't it? At points.
It could be.
I know
it
in
depends.
the 30s it got pretty grindy when I was playing.
Good company is necessary or was necessary in that game. And thankfully, it had a 8-person party limit. So yeah.
Well, didn't we all cap in Warhammer Online, or did we just miss by a level or two?
I refused to cap Warhammer Online.
All right, did you? I capped Warhammer Online. I capped World of Warcraft until it changed.
I was half a level away in Warhammer Online.
That's right.
We all freaking ridiculous and just left.
We were all about there. I think the only one that ended up capping was Zozo. But anyway, that was a good journey, though. I'd have to admit. Because the people we were playing with, mostly.
Well, I think the people you're playing with make a hell of a difference. I think I probably would have done better in Conan if I actually had a group of people I was playing with. But after 30th level, I just thought, no, I can't be bothered with this thing.
What's interesting about Star Wars, right, is it's not so much the people always that you play with, right? I mean, the story is so good, I think, in some of those classes that you don't even have to have somebody, even though it can be more fun, don't get me wrong. But that was one that was successful in the story big time with what Teppo was saying was that, the Teppo doesn't, the story makes a difference.
Yeah, but unfortunately the end of the game was really disappointing. So you got to 50th level and then it was just like nothing to do apart from grinding.
Yeah, and launch, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It's a little bit different now.
Well, it's different now, but yeah, I mean, after a year hiatus.
Oh yeah, they've made so many changes to that game. I've played almost everything, and I only capped about 4 or 5 games.
Huh. And you don't even know what Secret World cap is, but you've played that a bit, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, I played that into Egypt.
Okay.
That's really hard. We have a static group that plays on Monday nights, and I just wish I had that time and that energy to do it, because I'd love to play with them, but I just don't.
Yeah.
They've just gotten to Egypt recently, I think, and I heard the screams. There's a couple of, it's like you start off on the Solomon Island or something, and you're in the end zone of that's Blue Mountains, which is just painfully annoying. And you get to Egypt, and it's a lot better zone as a whole, but that difficulty jump is quite significant. And those initial groups will just hammer you.
Well, good. We don't have a whole lot of listener feedback. Did we able to pull anything out, Jen, from the websites at all, or was?
Well, as I said, we basically got. I put another thing up here, but I haven't got any responses. But we got 2 responses from Dave and Elmer about what they're planning on playing, and they're both going to do Dragon Knight. So and that was cool. Thanks, guys, for responding there.
You bet.
And for anyone else that wishes to give us their feedback, as I said, we will mention you. And we love hearing from you. I particularly like hearing from you because it's kind of boring when you write to yourself when you get no response.
Write to yourself.
And it's nice. Yeah, but it's nice to get likes, but then you want to know why you get a like, Yeah. So yeah. So
we are out on Facebook and Twitter. And we have presence on the MMOreporter.com website. Just a quick little rundown of those sites. Facebook, we can be found on facebook.com/ESO Reporter. Twitter, we are simply at ESO Reporter. I'm at Svven IM, and Jen's at Chenara, and Teppo is at Teppotastic. We do have an email address if you'd rather send just an email. It's eso@MMOreporter.com. And our voicemail is 616-666-6778. That's 616-666-6778. Do we have a country code, by the way, for international callers, or is it simply just one?
For them, it would be, for you, it would be 011-616, I think. Oh, wait a minute. Yes.
011.
Yes. 011, I think.
Okay.
Are you sure 011?
No, it might be 001.
I think it's 001.
I think
US
it's 001, yeah, because in England it's 4411.
Okay. So 001 or 001, and then that number I just read off. There's also a widget, which I will never stop mentioning. On the right side of MMO Reporter, there's a little dragging widget, and you grab it, click it, and it'll tell you how to leave a voice message for us, which is wonderful. Steve did it last podcast, and it worked out great.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, that was awesome. Official launch day is only 2 weeks away. We will be starting playing on, is it the Monday before? I would assume.
Sunday is the 5th day.
Yeah.
Before thing, so I really don't know at this point. I'm waiting to hear an official date.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the 30th of March, but I'm not incredibly sure.
Yeah,
Super.
and the 30th of March is a Sunday, yeah.
Is a Sunday. All right. Well, so
Yes.
that's when we're planning on jumping in. And I don't know, we were curious if there's any interest in community, getting a community set up around ESO Reporter, whether that be a guild or whatever. Please, that's another thing you can let us know if you're interested in. Comment, sites that I mentioned earlier, or leave a voicemail message for us. But I don't think we have much anything else. How about you guys?
No,
I think that's a wrap.
I'm out. That's a wrap.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, Jen and Tep. And
Thank you, Mr. Svven.
Dear listeners, yeah, you're welcome. And we'll catch you in a couple weeks before we start going weekly. And if there's something special in your heart that you think we're not talking about or mentioning, just send it our way and we'll definitely mention it next podcast. Until then, tally ho.
TTFN.
TTFN.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.
This podcast is also sponsored by Audible. And if you go to audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter, you'll get a 1-month free trial, which includes all the usual member benefits, including 1 free audiobook download per month and a 30% discount on additional purchases, as well as free digital subscription to New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. You can keep anything that you download during the free month forever. So what's stopping you, really? Sign up at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter.